Hello everyone and welcome back to Mishnah Minutes. In this video we will be learning Mishnayos Berachos Perek Gimel, Mishnah Daled. The learning of this Mishnah has been dedicated by my in-laws, Rabbi and Mrs. Rosenblatt, as a schus for the entire extended Rosenblatt mishpacha. Everyone should see much mazel and bracha in their lives. Okay, an introduction to this Mishnah. The Torah Kedosha in Parshas Kiseitze tells me, Ki yiavacha ish, if there will be amongst you a man, asher lo yihye tahar, who is not tahar, he's tamei. Why? Mikrei loila, because of something that occurred at night. The Torah Kedosha over here is speaking of a balkari, a man who experienced an emission of semen of any kind, whether through having relations with his wife or any other way. Such a man is tamei, and he's not allowed to go to the Beis Hamikdash, he's not allowed to eat kachim, and he has to go to the mikveh to make himself tahar. That is the din daraisa. Now, Ezra HaSofer, amongst the 10 takanos that Ezra HaSofer made a takana that a balkari is not allowed to speak words of Torah. Now, I want to stress, this has nothing to do with the din daraisa of a balkari. The din daraisa of a balkari is that he's tamei. But there is no din daraisa that a person who's tamei is not allowed to learn Torah. Like it says, Torah is not makabel tumah. Torah does not become tamei. So a person who's tamei is certainly allowed to learn Torah. However, Ezra was misaken that a balkari is not allowed to speak words of Torah. And according to some, we're going to see according to the Tanakama of our Mishnah, a balkari is also not allowed to daven. The Gemara tells us the reason Ezra did this is because he wanted to encourage Talmidei Chachamim to be prushim, to separate themselves from the pleasures of Olam Hazeh, and therefore he passed this takana as a way of preventing Talmidei Chachamim from having relations with their wives excessively. Talmid Chacham, he would have relations with his wife, he wants to be able to go daven, he wants to be able to learn Torah, he's going to have to go to the mikveh first. So by doing this, Ezra prevented them from being with their wives excessively. Now, when somebody says Kriya Shema, he's speaking words of Torah, which would be a problem for a balkari according to Takanas Ezra. So therefore, our Mishnah says, balkari, a man who is a balkari, maharher boliboy, he should think the words of Kriya Shema in his mind. He should not speak them because he can't speak words of Torah. Instead, he should think them in his mind. And he does not say the Berachos Kriya Shema, the blessings of the Kriya Shema, not before Kriya Shema and not after Kriya Shema. According to this Tana, the balkari is not only forbidden to speak words of Torah, he's also not allowed to daven. So he can't say the Berachos Kriya Shema. The difference between Kriya Shema and the Berachos is that Kriya Shema, which is a chiyuv daraisa, it's a mitzvah say daraisa to say Kriya Shema. Over there, the Tana says he has to think the words of Kriya Shema in his mind. The Berachos Kriya Shema are not a chiyuv daraisa, that's only a darabanan. Over there, the Tana does not say he has to think them in his mind. Over there, he doesn't make the blessings in any way. Now, when the balkari is going to think the words of Kriya Shema in his mind, he's not going to be yotze the mitzvah say daraisa of saying Kriya Shema through thought. You cannot fulfill your chiyuv daraisa of saying Kriya Shema by thinking Kriya Shema. You need to speak Kriya Shema with your mouth in order to be yotze the mitzvah. However, the Gemara says, it would be very improper while everybody is engaged in being Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim through saying Kriya Shema, everybody's saying Kriya Shema and accepting upon themselves the yoke of heaven, the rulership of Hashem, and this balkari is sitting and doing nothing. So instead, at least he should be Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim in his mind, he should at least think the words of Kriya Shema. The Tana continues, Va'al Hamazain, if the balkari is going to sit down and eat a meal together with bread. We know that when you eat bread, so you have to make a bracha before you eat, whether it's bread or anything else, and if you eat a meal with bread, after you eat, you have to bench. You have to say Birkas HaMazon. Now, the chiyuv of Birkas HaMazon, the obligation to bench, is a chiyuv daraisa, like the chiyuv of Kriya Shema. Therefore, the Tana says, Va'al HaMazon, when it comes to a meal, Mevarech La'acharav, the balkari should think in his mind the Birkas HaMazon, he should think the words of Birkas HaMazon, because again, it's a chiyuv daraisa. Ve'enoi mevarech lefanav, but he does not make a bracha rishayna on his food, because that is only a chiyuv d'Rabbanan, and just like we didn't obligate him to think the words of the brachas of Kriya Shema, we also do not obligate the Balkari to think the words of the bracha Rishayna on food. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with the Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Mevarech lifneihem ula achareihem. A Balkari does make the brachas both before Kriya Shema and after Kriya Shema. He also makes the bracha Rishayna before eating food, and the bracha Achrayna and Birkas Hamazon after eating food. So Rabbi Yehuda says that this whole idea that because of Takanas Ezra, a person, a Balkari, is not allowed to say the words of Kriya Shema or to daven, Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with that whole concept. Rabbi Yehuda held that the Takanas Ezra forbade a Balkari from sitting down and learning Torah intently. Person is going to sit down and learn Torah. He's going to learn a sugya. He's going to learn Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos. That's something that Takanas Ezra forbade for a Balkari. But to say Kriya Shema, saying Kriya Shema is not learning Torah. Yes, it's speaking words of Torah, but it's to be Mekabel al Malchus Shemayim. Certainly to daven, Rabbi Yehuda says Ezra never forbade a Balkari from davening. So Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with the halacha of the Tanakama completely. The Rav brings down over here, Ukvar nifseka ha'halacha, the halacha was already decided, the batlua l'tfilusa, that the chachamim were mevatel, the tefillah, the necessity, tefillah, not tefillah as in davening with a tuf and a fei, tefillah tes vez yud lamed hey, tefillah, they were mevatel, they nullified the tefillah, the necessity to go to the mikveh for a Balkari. Ubali Karian Karin Kriya Shema Kedarkan, a Balkari is allowed to say Kriya Shema in the normal way. Va'iskin b'Torah, they're allowed to learn Torah. Umispalelin, and they're allowed to daven. Umivarchin kal habrachais, and they could say all of the brachais. Ve'ein ma'ar b'davar, and there's nobody who disagrees with this. So nowadays, that the Takanas Ezra does not apply. A Balkari is allowed to learn. A Balkari is allowed to daven. A Balkari is allowed to bench. A Balkari is allowed to say Kriya Shema. There are those who are on a higher madrega. There are people who want to keep a higher level of precious, who do go to the mikveh when they are a Balkari. They'll learn Torah even if not, but they will go to the mikveh when they are a Balkari. Thank you so much for joining me for the learning of this Mishnah. I hope you continue to join me for many, many, many more Mishnayos to come. Have a wonderful day. Be well.